Hey guys, it's Jen from beautyriotx, and today we're doing a fun little different kind of video for my, well, not different, but I mean, it's makeup related. So Samantha March came up with this idea tag video and she collabed with Grande, and I think Jessica Braun just did this, and it seemed really fun. It was a way to go through your makeup collection, eyeshadow collection, and really look at your palettes, go through them, see what falls into these categories. So I will list the tags below if you want to do this for yourself, and I'll leave all their videos below if you want to check those out for yourself as well. All right, so the first one is my newest palette, and I kind of had to clump them together because they came in the same shipment, and they're not new palettes, like they're not new releases, but they're newer to me, and they're from Makeup Revolution. These have been shoved down my throat. I've been re-seeing people using them, and because Ulta was having a promo on Makeup Revolution, it was like $10 off of a $25 Makeup Revolution purchase. I got the Patricia Bright shadow palettes. So we have the Rich in Color palette, and we also have the Rich in Life palette, which is a bit more neutral. I've seen Make Me Up Melissa use these a few times in a few videos. They seem really nice. Makeup Revolution for me personally has been hit or miss over the years. Some palettes have been completely horrible. Some have been completely amazing. I'm hoping these fall on the more amazing side. And because I got them like on a bit of a sale price level, I decided to give them a shot. The next is what's my oldest palette that I have. Now I have done a bit of a declutter over the last few months, so I don't even think I have my actual oldest palette anymore, but as of now, my oldest palette is the original Urban Decay palette, and I'm pretty sure this is about 10 years old, which I'm pretty sure is about at least the age of this puff that is sitting in here that I'm going to throw out now. This is actually probably one of my most used palettes as well. I used to love this palette. This was a great palette. Back in the day, this was a great palette for good reason, and I think one of the reasons was because there was nothing like it back then. Now it's like, these are a dime a dozen. But for what it was back in the day, it was a great palette. Next is my most expensive palettes. And again, I had to put these together because are these the same price? Oh no, I have to check, hold on. Oh, okay. I'm thinking it's this one. I thought these were both the same price, but I think this one is more expensive. These are the Viseart Grande Pro volume palettes. I have 1 and 2. This is the all matte one. I think this is actually the cheaper one. I think this was $150. I didn't pay that for this though, because I have a professional license, so on certain sites I get a discount. But it was still like, I'm pretty sure it was still over $100 though. This is a gorgeous palette. I am a huge Viseart fan. I believe the Viseart hype is real, just so you know. This one was the most expensive one. This is the volume 2. This is the all metallic. These are magnificent. Do you need either of these? No, you don't. Do I think any eyeshadow palette is worth hundreds of dollars? No. But I also got this from a website that just offers Afterpay, so that was a little bit of an easier pill to swallow. My most inexpensive palette, the e.l.f. bite-sized palettes. These are $3 each. They're fantastic. I mean, my favorite ones are the pumpkin pie and the truffle versions. I have almost all of them, but these are, I mean, sensational. This is the pumpkin pie. I didn't have any inclination to try e.l.f. things until they started like rebranding and I think they had to have reformulated, because I remember trying older things from like their original collections and they were pure shit, and I'm sorry, in my opinion. These are unbelievable. And for $3, I mean, they're unbelievable. I'm just gonna say that. My everyday palette. Now, Jessica Braun put this in a way that she was like, I don't know how to say this. Like, is it my everyday palette or what I think everybody's everyday palette is? So I'm not really sure how to clump this either. But for me, my kind of go-to everyday palette would be the Makeup Revolution Reloaded Velvet Rose palette. Again, this is one of Makeup Revolution's better palettes. Like I said before, they've made some not so great Reloaded palettes, and they've made some really good ones. Again, it may be like a Morphe issue. Sometimes Morphe puts out good palettes that are like, wow, this is fantastic. And then the very next one they come out with is like, what happened here? sometimes Makeup Revolution has that same issue. This is a beautiful palette. Every time I use this, I love the way my eyes come out every single time. There's one metallic in here I don't like, and it's this gold. For some reason, the payoff is just weird. But this is one of those palettes from Makeup Revolution that is wonderful. My most colorful palette is also one of my favorite palettes. This is the BPerfect Cosmetic Carnival XL Pro Stacey Marie palette. Did I say that weird? Anyway, it's also gonna be in here again as my biggest. Oh, I mean, there's literally every color under the sun in this palette. And it's one of the best palettes I've ever used. I mean, the greens, the cools alone are unbelievable. I wish this was easier to get in the States. I mean, you can still order it from the website, but I mean, the website sucks. You can order it from Beauty Bay and stuff like that. I don't know if it's still available. I'm sure it is, but an incredible palette. I've never heard anybody who has it say they didn't like it. They also have like a smaller version, which is also fantastic. I don't have a best memory palette. I don't have a palette that I associate like that way with memories. Jessica Braun was like, oh, I have this NARS palette that, you know, I've traveled with and I've gone on cruises with because we, you know, went with friends or we traveled to Paris. I don't go any really interesting places, so I don't have anything like that. So my smallest palette is, again, the e.l.f. palette. This one is Cream and Sugar palette. Beautiful, super simple. All the formulas in here are fantastic. The color payoff is almost unbeatable, especially, I mean, for $3, it's uncanny. Palette that's worth the hype. The Dose of Color Desi Katie Friendcation palette. This is unbelievably gorgeous. This also, I would say, rivals like my perfect everyday palette. The metallics in here are just divine. The mattes blend like a dream. I really don't have anything bad to say about the palette. If you can get it on sale, I mean, absolutely go for it. Don't sit by and let it sell out. I definitely think it's worth the full price too, though. A palette that I don't think is worth the hype, which, to be honest, I didn't hear tons of hype about it, but this is probably one of my more disappointing purchases. This is the Pat McGrath Ecstasy Subversive palette. These are like mini metallics. I mean, and listen, these aren't bad. Like, I'm not looking at this being like, oh, the quality is horrible. It's not at all. I mean, they're very pretty. But I don't think these are any more special than the metallics in these. And I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not like trying to be harsh. And I'll put some of them just next to them so you can see what I mean. I took some of the metallics from the Jalapeno palette. I'm gonna take 2 from the Berry palette, just for reference. So here are the Pat McGrath, the 4 right here, and then the rest are from the e.l.f. palette. I don't see what's so great about them that would warrant the price of $25 for this. The packaging is plastic and crappy. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. And nothing about that would make me intrigued to buy anything larger. I've heard amazing things, and I know Pat McGrath is an amazing makeup artist. I'm not arguing that she's not. I just don't get it. Sorry. Favorite palette from a favorite brand. Melt Cosmetics is one of my favorite brands, and this Impulsive palette is knock my socks off incredible. Same thing as with a lot of my favorite palettes. I'm never unhappy with how my makeup comes out when I use this palette. Never. You know those times where you're doing your makeup and you're doing your eyeshadow and something happens, it doesn't blend well, it doesn't layer well, something happens, you're like, I can't even go on, I have to wipe this off. This never happens with this palette. This palette always, I just always feel happy when I use this palette. It just always makes me happy. And this is like is this a pressed pigment palette? Is that how they market this? This is the Impulsive Pressed Pigment palette, yeah. Like, okay, fine. It's a pressed pigment palette, whatever. It still rocks my world. This shade right here, which is Poppin' Bottles, is one of the most gorgeous duochrome champagne with like a green shift. It's just, I mean, the mattes are just out of this world. If you've ever used Melt Cosmetic matte shadows, you'll know what I'm saying. My most used palette, which I had to include 2 because I don't actually know which one I've used the most. I think it's a tie. This is also one of my oldest. It probably rivals my Urban Decay Naked. This is the Urban Decay Black palette. This is probably around the same age, like 10 years old. This is a mostly dark palette. It's got all shade, like the darkest shades of blue, gold, green, purple, shimmery black, and then this is my favorite matte black ever. I'll never get rid of it unless there's mold growing on it, which even after 10 years, it's going like a champ. My other one is the Viseart Neutral Matte palette. One of my favorite palettes. I can't tell you how many times I've used this and I haven't hit pan on any of them. These are pricey palettes. They're around $80 each. I have about 4 of them. They're worth every penny, again, in my opinion. Actually, no, I have 3. I have the neon mattes, the dark mattes, and then the neutral mattes, and just the 2 big pros. But I love these. I think they're beautiful. So Jessica Braun added 2 categories to her video, and I'm gonna add 2 more to this one. So her 2 added ones were, what palette do I think is underrated? This. I think I heard 1 or 2 people mention this and say it was really good, or maybe I heard a review, or like I read a review about it. This is the I Heart Revolution Revo-Pooches shadow palette. This is an example of them making an insane quality eyeshadow palette. I've been using the shit out of this since I got it, and it's been out for a while. More people need this, and more people need to talk about it because it's incredible. Every shade in here that I've used has been incredible. I mean, beyond incredible, actually. Pigmentation, wow. Wherever Makeup Revolution had this made, or whatever formula they used, they need to use this for every single palette that they put out, because this is some of the best stuff they've ever done. It's so good that now every time that I go to put on makeup, I want to pull this palette out. Like I have to make myself use something else instead of this, because this is all I want to use lately. This I can absolutely see becoming a fast, everyday favorite makeup palette. And her second category that she added was favorite limited edition palette. The Sugar Pill Burning Heart matte palette. I love this more than life itself. This is also probably one of my older palettes. Again, I won't throw this out until there's mold growing over it. I'm almost positive you don't make this anymore. I don't know if she meant limited edition or discontinued. I'm pretty sure this is just discontinued. I don't think it was limited edition. I think it's just discontinued. This is one of my favorite things in the world. I mean, Sugar Pill does these so beautifully. And I mean, I'm pretty sure you can get these shadows, but I love that they all are in this palette. You can probably find this for an absorbent price on Poshmark or Mercari. I'm so glad I don't have to be one of the ones to look for it. So my 2 categories that I added was palette that I didn't want to love is the first one. It was the KKW Classic palette. Teresa is Dead convinced me to buy this. I don't hate the Kardashians, but I don't keep up with the Kardashians. And when they come out with makeup, I don't want to run and try it and fill their pockets more. I just don't. So when I saw her use this and say it was amazing, I was like, Teresa, don't fucking do this to me. When Ulta was open, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna walk by and swatch it and see what she's talking about. Because I'm sure she's wrong. This bitch was right. These are some of the most velvety, smooth, amazing feeling shadows I've ever touched in my life. I love her and hate her all at the same time for making me buy this. Another palette that I rarely have a bad eye day when using. The swatches won't do a ton of justice, but God. I mean, everything just blends like a dream. The metallics don't need bases when you put them on. Like, it's just beautiful. It's worth the stupid price. I mean, I hate that I love it, but I love it. And the last palette that I wanted to add was my favorite palette from an indie brand. And it is the Orb of Light Full Moon palette from Black Moon Cosmetics. Shot through the heart and you're to blame. This is magic, and it melts my heart in ways I didn't know possible. It's got my mustard shade here, and orange, red, brown, all the beautiful rays of love that I didn't know my heart needed to survive, but it does, and it makes me so happy, even just looking at this palette. Get it from Ulta, and I'm pretty sure you can, I think you can use like the coupons on it and stuff, and it's just lovely, and I just, it's lovely. And it just lights up my day. It is an orb of light in a room of darkness. So that was it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will list Samantha, Allie, and Jessica's video in the box below, along with the list of categories if you'd like to do this video for yourself. Hope you're all staying safe, healthy, and that was it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.